Hello, happy holidays. It seems we have another update to the game. I know I had the intro a few seconds of dead silence, but I was actually just trying to show everyone what they were posting in case you just skipped it. Give everyone a second if you need to, just go back to the beginning of the video. So, it looks like we have a second chance with a full wins. I saw that last year, and pretty much in this bundle is 4 ships. The Juita, California, Mobile Head, and Grocer, which I have all 4 of them when they first came out, not in the Four Winds bundle. So yeah, it does say if you do get this, you can compensate it for 500 doubloons for each one. So that's what 2,000 out of a whole bundle of 35 you pay. So that's something I can't really go for. It's just too pricey for my blood. I mean, I don't really see anything in the big chest to even go for. And these I can just wait 2 weeks and just do the Premium Tier 7 ships challenge. We also have the Waves of the North. And yeah, I did that last week, so I'm just going to skip this. If need be, you can go back to my previous video and you can see all the details about it. Now the big thing is this Mystic Bundle. And it seems like these Mystic Lanterns are what you want, but the Mystic Box doesn't really give you anything too special. Now the Mystic Chest gives you a great, what is it, 15% chance of getting one of the legendary ships. But quite honestly, altogether, I'm pretty sure there's over 150, 100, almost $200 just to purchase everything off of it, just going flat out buying the blooms and so forth. And that's even with that coupon. And what I mean by that coupon is there's Frosty coupon here where you get another 250 doubloons for your purchase. So yeah, it's pricey. I'll have to run the numbers and I'll probably put in the description or just below right about now. Because I'm like, I kind of want to warn players how much this is. 225, that's 50. It's 60, 60, 85. 97. Oh my god, how many doubloons do they need from us? So, if I'm projecting correctly, it's about 1,500 doubloons. And I know we don't have that option right off the bat from right here. You'd be buying at least 3 packs of these. So that's $450 plus tax. Wow, that's overpriced. Okay, Japanese hybrid ships. Uh, SQ torpedo. Yeah, it's pretty much just the American battleships, which I love. I'm hoping we get the Aqua added into the our shipyard tech tree. I'm running the bureau. I'm hoping the Aqua gets added to the bureau so we can actually research it. And I'm hoping it doesn't become one of those. It was there, but no, you can't have it. Okay, so the super crate for tier 8 ships, it's pretty much everything they have released. But yeah, there's that priced. There's 3 of them you actually just buy in the shipyard here. Actually 4. Let's see the Mercury. And the nice thing about that crate is if you have the ship, it'll skip and go to any other ship you do not have. But the Hayate is one of the ships you can actually just pay in global stars. But I'm just getting off track here. Sorry. I'm just trying to point out there's a few other ways you can get these tier 8 ships. And do keep track, if you're going for like a destroyer, most of them are actually in the shipyard, in the store. We can actually just pay for with global stores and just save up. But the Hante, like I was just pointing out earlier, it might be in a special. Yeah. You can actually just pay for the same price as a crate and just buy it straight off if you want. And then you have your own particular tier 8 ship on hand. So I know I'm going back and forth here and there. Let's see. Let's start from the far right and then work our way over. Now these are all skins. Ship of the Cold. Premium skin. A haul. I do not recall seeing. Oh, preview. Okay, that's just my fault on the control stick. If I had to guess, that's a British ship. I do not recall seeing that before. So it must have been during the time I was in the game. Ohio. That's another one I'm still waiting to see come back onto the game. But I do like the skin of it. I'm assuming these are, let's see, I know I saw these last year. So that was 2024? So that means these were 2023. Okay. And that little count on the bottom on the ship, if you're new to the game, tells you how many kills you have got with this ship. Yeah, I think that is a torpedo bay on the sides there. Trying to think. No, maybe. I think that's one of the legendary ships we have in the bureau. I'll have to check in a second. I don't think I owned it yet. Yeah, same thing with this one here. You have a counter. I'm pretty sure I had a counter on the ship during last year. If anyone knows if they got the ship before and they see that counter on the ship, do let me know in the comments if you can. I mean, I know it was quite pricey just to get hold of. Yoshio? I do sometimes like going with the skins unless they're all the same type on the same ship and so forth. But these are more of a holiday skin setup I do like looking around at. All white AA guns, a few stores by the observation deck on the back. Okay, now these are just the same ship if you had them before, but they're just a winter skin pre-done on them. I will still go over them. Tier 5 Hyuga, winter. Reload time of 20 seconds, HE, 35 seconds, 57. Chance of fire, 25%. You do have the 3 options of catapult fighter, observer, and your hand secondaries. I usually stick with the secondaries, but the main battery reload booster looks pretty good. Now your armor piercing shells are 1,200. I honestly would stick to HE because it just has a tad bit more power for that second boost of shots, and you get a chance to do fire damage if you catch them on fire. That and it comes in handy when you're dealing with a destroyer. Now let's see here. Armor piercing. If you do have to use AP shells, at point blank range it's 697. That's okay. That's rank. Maximum range 378. Minimum ricochet angle 47. Fuse time. That's the one we want. Pretty good. It actually should. Here. Arming. That's what we want because of the destroyers. It goes right through them. Even at the higher tier ones. Secondaries, it's about basic for cloners. AAs. What do we have here? Actually, somewhat decent, honestly. You don't have too many of them, but if you're not getting splashed with a HE fire, they should hold out in case you're dealing with the carrier, because it is a tier 5, and you do deal with them. Honestly, I would stick to not the 5 kilometer, but the 3.1. She's 25 knots, but her shift time is 15. Engine startup is 23, so she takes a bit of time to start moving. If you get caught by surprise, you're going to be hurrying for it. Reverse speed is 8 knots. Let's see here. If you had to deal with her on the battlefield, honestly, just aiming where the turrets are at, say the front one, you should be hitting her citadel there at the green areas of 25 to 26 armor thickness, and the back. If you're aiming for the middle, you better be using HE shells just to burn her down. IS class battleship that was further developed in the Fuso class warships with different artillery augment. Severe reduction during the 1930s, result of the battleship having better speed, stronger anti-torpedo protection, and more solid horizon armor. Enter service 1918. 2 ships in service. Okay. I have a feeling this is going to be a long video. Yep. Oh, okay. Quite a winter. If I remember correctly, yeah, she has no smoke generator. She's the main style French torpedo boats. She'll have a better reload time, but that's about it. I mean, I'm looking at this torpedo range. Tier 5, everything's going beyond 8, and this is still below. So it reminds me of a Russian destroyer, honestly. She does have a good rearm time, but you're most likely going to be spotted at 6.6 and 7. That's what I use to see if it's good or bad. So yeah, you can be cutting close to trying to hide or evade any battleships. AE defense is pretty much non-existent. It's at 1.1, and at that range, even if you count the ones down here, they're going to get blasted off, so you might as well just turn them off. Honestly, AA for the French wasn't too great. Max speed is 36 knots. She does have good water shift time and good reverse gear. She's a destroyer, so anywhere on her is actually, well, breakable. Pretty much the same as she is in the original text. with a 139mm artillery guns. The Guepard class ship were to be greater extent with a predecessor, in line with the concept of the Longo Destroyer Hull class and half destroyer. Oh, cruiser and half destroyer. Yeah, that was the downfall of this ship. You try and do two different classes and try and combine them. It's one thing when you try and combine a cruiser with a battleship, but it's not too good with a destroyer because some parts don't really mesh. Ah, Maass. I remember her. Well, I mean the original one, not the winter one. I will say I usually play before they did the cruiser update, or I mean the carrier, I should say, the German tech tree with the destroyers. Mainly because you get the smoke generator, you get engine boost, and sonar. A really good, decent sonar between the German tech tree of destroyers and the British. And not only that, they always had a good torpedo launcher. This is tier 6, so it's okay. I can probably extend the range with a good sub commander. 37 speed, 0.8, so you get about 1 kilometer of hiding distance if you're just sitting. And I always account for that. I don't account for when I'm actually moving because sometimes I need to hide and do guerrilla warfare with other ships. First destroyer of the next generation 1934 type, which prevented the way for the paved the way for the development of the ships of this type in the German Navy until the end of World War II. Thanks to the large dimensions and robust design, she had excellent survivability. Yeah, she actually does. I could take a few hits with her of the HE shells, and it would be what, good 20 hits before I get sunken. Ah, Nelson. I usually do use a Nelson for my tier 6 battleships, mainly because you got all guns in the front, yes, you don't have anything in the back to defend yourself, but if you're staying somewhere in the mid line and just shooting, say, to your left and the right, you can pretty much defend or help your allies with good HE shells because it's pretty much almost 50% chance of lighting people on fire. I usually use her to strip away the enemy's AA defenses so the carrier can actually destroy other ships. That's if you're working with another player. She does have a good, well, fire resist, but not too good of torpedo on this battle rating. I will say, she does get hit with her citadels quite easily. So having a commander has good anti-citadels, or whichever way you want to put it, is most likely the best way to go on the British commanders. I know which one I'm thinking of, and I really don't use them too often with her. She is quite slow, and yeah, I will say her A's are quite decent. Even though there's only 6 up here, they usually do have a lot, like a higher pool of health for some reason compared to most other ships. And like I was saying before, even though this is like a yellow for armor, I keep getting my citadels hit with that. So if anything, I think it was my original is a 25, 26 all around. So maybe this would be better than my original Nelson. Battleship of the Future feature in invasion arguments designed under the restrictions of the Washington Naval Treaty of 1922. The ship was armed with 104 main guns that were constructed 3 turns in the ship's bow. She was the first battleship in the Royal Navy to be armed according to the all or nothing concept. Entered service 1927. 2 ships in series, okay. Okay, we got the French Agro Winter. I think I remember her. I didn't bother getting her because I was already having a hard time with the French ships. But as usual, they do have sonar and a speed boost, like a destroyer. I usually switch out for the speed boost for actually a higher reload rate. Yeah, 13 seconds for reload. The thing I want to look at is armor penetration, point blank, 413, and 1640. I would go with a commander that like Yamato, who does increase your armor penetration and get that up. It'll probably go up at best another 50 millimeters of armor. Fuse arming threshold 34. So at this battle rating, you should be able to destroy any destroyer with this, even on armor piercing. So let's say we don't need to look at the secondaries. Torpedo, 9 kilometers. That's not too bad. It might be only 3, but they do take a while to reload. Let's see, speed 32 knots, about 33. For the shift time, 8.5. That's actually good. And reverse engine is at 9 knots. But as you can see here, she's quite paper thin. So she's not really much of a threat. If you do see her on the battlefield, just honestly aim anywhere besides orange. So pass the guns here by the anchor, or aim for the engines in the back. The last heavy cruiser built for the French Navy, one of the best representative of the type of ship in the Europe among the cruisers over time. She was distinguished by the power and armor of the very good torpedo protection. Entered service 1934. Yeah, probably before the Nazis took over. Okay, so yeah, we have a few more to go. Pretty sure New Orleans might be a standard tier ship. Sadly, with some of the U.S. cruisers, I'm kind of disappointed is that they don't have any torpedoes on the side. But during that time, torpedoes weren't too reliable with for the U.S. She does have sonar, capital fighter. I still miss the time before cruise carriers came in and capital fighters were actually used as scouting. That was a good time. 12-second reload time. Where's her armor penetration? 467, 169. Fuse arming threshold 34. Okay, I don't trust A score. That's actually worse than I thought. I mean, look at this. Only 8 guns at a decent amount. And even you go to the second standard ones at 3.5. That's only 6. So a total what? 14 out of all these A guns. Yeah, you're pretty much just hoping everything just comes in at 2 kilometers, and by then they're dropping their bombs. Max speed of about 33 knots. With a shift time 6.9, that's actually good to change directions. And then 9 knots for your reverse. But she's still paper thin. You don't even have to really aim anywhere besides just make sure it hits them. Sticky shot. I was easy to angle. It's a sluggish shot, I should say. and it can go right over the mountains and just hit the enemy. Okay, we have a destroyer. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it only has one torpedo tube, and I just had to deal with it in a recent battle. Yeah, almost 6 to 20. So a few of those cruisers will actually just be overpenning with this armor set. So you do have to be careful. You can just go through your armor and see which ships are actually going to be in that range. About 2 seconds for reloading. So pretty much you're just annihilating anything they have on them. And yeah, but she doesn't have any smoke screen. So you have to work with someone else who does have smoke screen. I don't see the main point of this A defense booster. If I'm guessing correctly, she's okay, but 5 kilometers? I think that's the best we're ever going to get with these ships is that, but a lot of stuff can actually hit you. If you're dealing with a no-way um, set of cruisers, you're pretty much gone. Yeah, 35 knots. She's somewhat okay on speed. 10 knots reverse. 3 seconds for changing your rudder. The range of the torpedo is actually just about 14. That's actually good. Reload's actually even better. That's even the fastest one I've seen. That's no wonder she was almost sinking me with my ship. Okay, last of the series of destroyers of the Swedish Navy. Due to their dimensions, which were quite small for the era, they were sometimes classified as a light destroyer. Their main artillery armament compared of very successful 120 automatic dual-purpose mounts. Entered service 1958. Wow, that's late in the series. But I do say the camera looks nice on her, but besides that, she was a threat as can be. Yeah, very fast torpedoes. They were hard to evade. So this is one of the ships I would almost want to try to save up and actually try to buy. And what, she's half off? Yeah. Okay, that's something to think about. I have a month to think about actually buying that one. Okay, Consulate Winter. If I remember correctly, she has torpedoes. She does. She also has a radar system, so she's good for tracking other ships in a 9, almost 10 kilometers range. Short reload for the main battery is 25 seconds. At point blank, it's 788. Max penetration range of 450. Fuse arming threshold of 68. So any destroyer we've been seeing lately is only at 20. So yeah, this is just gonna go right through them 3 times over. So yeah, better off with your HE shells. But she has really good secondary range. Torpedoes 9.2. Reload of 90. That's not too bad. A minute and a half. AA. That's what I want to see. Let's see. 5. Really good AA. Just about what she's saying for 90. I would almost say 80 is what I would give her on the score because these 22 guns, they're not going to hit anything unless you're getting a chance to have the planes fly over from a carrier. Your main ones are going to be these 10 and 12, so that's actually 22 guns still actually doing some decent damage on the enemy planes. Speed, about 34 knots. Let's see, shift time of the rudder, 15 seconds. Wheel speed, 11 knots. Oh, sorry about that. But she has great deal amount of protection, so only way to take her down would be burn her down with the HE shells. So if you do come toe-to-toe with a Constitution, use HE and just destroy her AA guns, burn her down. If you're lucky enough, you might even start destroying the main guns. I've done it before. Heck, even destroy the bridge and actually activate the destroy rudder or even the engine. So yeah, that other red part behind the second main turret is the bridge. Lexington battleship built under the Naval Act of 1916 after the end of World War I, one of the largest and fastest warships of her time. Year design 1919. It's a shame she was never built. Okay, 2 more to go. Georgia Winter. Speed booster. I do have a few of these as basic, and just that one ship so far is the only one I see I should be going for. I don't really play as a destroyer, but that one just destroyed my whole team's battleships with ease. And that says something about the commander. Okay, so point blank, yeah, she has a lot of penetration. I usually get all the citadels with her at decent about, I want to say 4 kilometers out, and at max range 561. Yeah, she's always hitting citadels with ease, and the fusing arming threshold is 76. So don't aim too far for the anchor. She's one of those you just aim for the middle of the ship and they'll go down. Secondaries, yeah, about 5 for 5 on each side, and decent range. I will say that. How AAs, you're hoping for that this bottom here, 10 and the 16, so that's actually decently good. 33 knots for the shift time, 16, and 10 knots reverse speed. She is an American ship, and usually with them and the Russians, you gotta just burn them down with the HE shells while stripping them of the AA defenses. So your carriers can actually do some damage. I mean, it is a tier 7. We usually do play with carriers now, as it's tier 8 waiting. This is Russian. I'm not really going to try pronouncing that. It's quite hard for me to do that. Smoke generator. I don't really see too many Russian ships with a smoke generator. Let's see. 16 kilometers. That's basic for tier 7. 8 seconds reload. What is HE 22? That's kind of weak. That might explain for the fast reload. But ideal for dealing with destroyers even on AP rounds. But you have to do like a armor penetration booster with Yamato as a side commander. So, because this is not going to even pen most battleships. Sure, you might be hunting down other destroyers, but this cruiser isn't going to live too long. Honestly, your AAs, just because of the amount of number you have of them, is not really 79, but actually 69. I imagine they're going to be stripped off quite easily because your armor is not going to be there to keep you alive. 33 knots for speed, but shift time 6 seconds, and reverse speed is 9. Yeah, like I was saying, it's like paper thin for this battle rating. That's 25, 26, armor thickness all around. I've seen a few, and I always hit the Ceratos with ease. As long as I am shooting just a tad bit more above the waterline, and they go down easily. It's quite sad for them. Okay, so let's go and take a look at the special. This is turning out to be a long recording. Wings and Might. And this is another one that, honestly, I'd be heading just maybe barely $150 just to get the everything in here. Let's see, 11, 17, 17, 22. About here is 39, almost 40, 50. I would say just about 65,000 doubloons just for the ships. That's a what? One of these packs plus, oh crud, $200 bundle. Quite honestly, that's a lot. Well, trying to just go into what they have in the ships. I do have the ship, so I do know. Don't mind the boosters, so I do have it out on her. Oop. So my specs would be a lot different, as you can see here. Usually it's only 30 seconds and a .8 shell grouping. So yeah, I do boost it from the 5 to 7.6. That's with all my secondary booster commanders, the side ones, I should say. So any destroyer that comes in range is going to get slammed with heavy fire. I mean, the reload time drops down to 7.2, so they're going to get slammed with a bunch of guns shooting at them, 16 of them. So yeah. On battleships, I usually play as a secondary gun escort ship, so I can help my destroyers capture the point. That way, if there's another destroyer in the point, they're going to be dealing with me, trying to decide how they want to hit me with the torpedo, while my ally hits them with their own torpedoes and hiding. Maximum speed, which it doesn't really let me show you what was before the standard. I think it was, what, 28 was speed, and I just maxed it out to 38.9, almost 31 knots. But our shift time is 14.9, and then engine reverse speed from 9 to 21. So, yeah, I must have been putting on a big speed booster. Oh, that 50% booster. Yeah, this one here. That's what's doing it. Okay. Her armor is questionable. I know that. But she is fun for escorting your ally destroyers. If you have anyone you can actually talk to. If they do not hit the, the green areas, I should say, that's the only concern. Otherwise, most times I have a few players who hit the red, which is between 161 armor thickness and higher. I mean, it's a Myogi class battle cruiser. I like the lead ship in the series, her construction was not complete. Boasted a very high speed and carried 410 millimeter guns. So there's 5 turrets on the ship, is what they're trying to say. Okay, the Kai. She's also another one I do love using, as you can see. She has a nice paint job and so forth. She also has torpedoes, which I notice a lot of these battleships in this uh, series try and give away have torpedoes, and they're actually quite useful for dealing with the other ships. And yeah, 9.3, just the way I like to boost my secondaries. So yeah, I'm not really worrying about the main battery range of these ships. And honestly, I hardly see my A guns start firing until after the hitting the 3.1 range on my flight deck. I'm like, why aren't they shooting at 5? No, they start shooting at 3.1. And that's even my heavy guns. 3.4 on speed, but it's actually, what, half? That speed boost, so I'm guessing it was originally, what, 24, 25 knots for speed, but with my engine booster, it brings it up to 30 knots on speed. She is really armed and heavily hard to take down at a 29 to 30 millimeter protection thickness. Now, yes, most ships are usually hitting me with HE fire. That's might be the main cause of my AA guns not firing. But like I said, that's something you have to take into account for. Oh, torpedoes are in the back here. We can just barely see from the first turn in the back. High-speed battleship was designed under the 1920 shipbuilding program. The ship was further developed of the Myogi class battleship design compared to her predecessor. She had heavily armored protection. The Kai class battleships were canceled as a result of the Washington Naval Treaty, year design 1921. Yeah, that's kind of sad for Japan, I would say. And now our last ship, the new one, I would say. I haven't really seen this one before. Tsurugi. You got 3 main turns, I would say. And I don't, yeah, that's a new, 2-8 destroyer turn there. Hold on. There we go. I only seen a few destroyers because the secondary guns on a battleship is actually a destroyer's main turret. I know some of them are actually Russian made, and some are actually a little bit off. That might be like an AA gun I might be looking at here. Okay, so sadly, she has deep water torpedoes. Why I say that? Because she cannot hit any destroyers. I hate when they do that. That should be only in the Chinese tech tree. You can switch out for the torpedo reloader for a secondary enhanced targeting system. Let's see, main range 17 kilometers. Is reload 29, that's quite slow at this battle rating. But that's a giving 14,000. Yeah, these are big shells firing off. Fuse threshold arming of 76, but I mean, look at this point blank range. Almost 1,000. I'd probably be hitting 1,000 if I put the armor on her. And the maximum range is 600, so she's able to take on Soviet battleships with ease. Secondary range is okay. I can probably get that up to 7.6, like my other ships. But I'm only seeing 4 secondary guns. Wait, only what? 1, 12. Yeah, this is gonna be torpedo range of 12, and since he's not in the center, they're very hard to destroy because not many ship commanders are actually aiming for the back of the ship. They're aiming just for the center of the ship. AA defense. I don't count these 2 guns. They're crossed off. I don't know if I'm having the same issues as before with my other ships that say this, and they're only really activating at 3.5. That's the range we're getting. Max speed of 35 knots. What are shift times? 16 seconds. That's quite slow. Yeah, it would go reverse speed of 9 knots. I've seen ships that the reverse speed is only 4 knots, and that's an iceberg movie. Cross about the torpedoes. This one is right in dead center, so they'll get stripped off with ease. Oh, okay. There's there's torpedo design hole, and this one shows that these only fire from midway to the back. If they're the same way as the cruiser, they only fire from that range. They don't fire from midway to the front. No, they fire from the midway here to the back. Why? Okay. Um, I'm usually not trying to diss any battleships like this, but my goodness, this has more issues than can be. She's more heavily on those main guns, and if you could increase the reload time, and you'd be doing great deal of damage. Forget the torpedoes, forget the secondary guns. She's more of a heavy hitter, sink everything in her path. Okay, according to the Japanese Navy new development plan, the future projects of the battleships will battleships and battlecruisers didn't differ much from their current warships. Even the battlecruiser feature the same speed as the planned Kai battleships. This went beyond the concept. Japanese naval tactics increased the speed, created the true battle cruiser. Designed under number 13 battleship was modified with one main turns being sacrificed. Achieved the 37 to 30. Oh, they were going for speed and ripped off one of the turrets. Okay, so they were trying to reduce weight. Yeah, I could see them doing that, but at the same cost, I don't know. I just have some issues with having any torpedoes in the middle, and that torpedo design, I've seen it before on some of the earlier Japanese cruisers, and they always fire from the midway to the back. So, yeah, that's something you will have issues, plus deep water. Like I said, strategy is your key, and planning for each ship is your best bet. Now, given it's so pricey just to get up to, I don't think too many players are going to get to this here. I kind of wish we could see in the big Japanese crates and so forth, but hey, it is what it is. I'm not trying to diss anything, but I'm just trying to warn everyone about them. Okay, we have all these ships, and I'm just about out of time. Here's a tier 4 Mogu. I remember her coming out, and quite honestly, she's quite slow. I'm just going to speed through them real quick. She does have good load time. Let's see, 59. Yeah, at this battle ring, you don't have to worry about too much. She's okay on the secondaries. There's not too many of them, honestly. So, well, actually, there are quite a few, about 22 guns. That's one thing I can always rely on with the Japanese ships because they always have a great deal of guns on them between them and the Germans. 30 knots, shift time of 12 seconds, resort backup speed of 9 knots, but she's paper thin as can be. Just hitting anywhere with an AP shell will pretty much hit a citadel. Very high speed battle cruiser dealing with a relative weak armor, typical of this type of ship. It was prototype for the Congo class battle cruiser. Year design 1910. Yeah, that was right before World War One. That explains so much. I do have this destroyer, the Yudachi, and if I do get a duplicate, I'm not getting gold bullion, I'm just getting credits. It's not really worth it. I'm just gonna go real quick. In my experience with her, now I do have this booster, and quite honestly, I'm not getting it because I go from 10 on the torpedo range to 7. Yes, they're going fast, but 9? I don't really want to reduce my torpedo's range because I'm stealthy, and to me that's weakening the destroyer. Because destroyers to me at this battle range are assassins. You do not want to be shooting those main guns. You want to be using those torpedoes. See, it's at 10, and my reload time is at 38 compared to 100, so I'm almost a whole minute reloading these torpedoes, constantly firing them, and just spreading them out on causing mayhem on the battleships. And yeah, this is one of the ships you just turn off the secondaries for your AA and keep on going. I mean, my concealment is at 5.2. I'm firing these torpedoes at 10, and you can't even see me because I'm so far out. One of the Shimmer class destroyers tasked with escorting the major forces of Japanese Navy delivering torpedo attacks against the enemy ships. The ship carried quadruple torpedo tubes. Yeah, they're powerful. And I'm glad the standard and not the deep water ones. This was the Hayate. I was talking about that earlier. If need be, you can actually go into the specs about the ship yourself. And if you don't get it with the gold bullion, you can get it with gold um, this the elite global currency for global XP, and just pay for that way in the shipyard, in the store, I should say. Sorry. I'll probably show everyone where that is real quick again. Pretty sure I showed that, but yeah. The Maya has sonar or optional of AA. I would stick with a sonar. And you have either a couple fighter or faster reload. I'm kind of going to go with faster reload because not all the time you're going to be dealing with a cruiser. I mean, a carrier, I should say. Sorry. Uh, Whole gun's range is quite weak. I will say you're better off sticking with the HE shells, both for dealing with the destroyers and if you want to burn down any battleship, because quite honestly, this 47 AP round isn't really going to penetrate too many things. By the looks of it, 415 at 206, yeah. A lot of stuff's actually much stronger because your max range is at 153. Arming threshold, 34 millimeter thickness. Okay. And like I was saying, this is going to be a ship that I'm warning about the torpedo design right here. And when you see that on these Japanese ships, you know you're only going to be dealing with from mid-range to the back of the ship for firing the torpedoes. So pretty much bypassing the enemy ship. Tasker class heavy cruiser at the height of the World War II, the ship underwent a massive rift of the involved the removal of the main battle turret and to reinforce her anti-air force capabilities. Uh-huh. I'm highly doubtful of that. Okay, so while I was talking about the one destroyer, the Hayate, here's what the price is if you want to go with global XP. And with that, thank you for watching the video. Happy holidays and have a good time in World of Warships.